Alright, so here we are. I am going to attempt to create my very first model with the assistance of my new plugin. And you know what? At some point during the creation of this model, I may actually end up with some bugs or something. That, whenever that happens, I'm going to have to stop the video and fix those bugs. But as far as I can tell, I've tested everything. Everything seems to be working. And I'm ready to actually produce something that's substantial. So I created a stage in Flash. It doesn't really matter what the size of the stage is, as long as you're comfortable with the drawing area. So also, as I'm drawing this, you should know that I am using a Wacom Cintiq tablet, which is one of the reasons why I'm able to draw fairly fast. Okay, so the character that I'm going to draw is still not your typical character that's being recommended by the CrazyTalk animator guys. You know, the eyes are all weird. It has a huge nose. The mouth itself is a composite of a jaw and a skull. So I'm gonna have to, you know, come up with some creative ways of representing that within the context of the software. So there's my head. Another thing that I've found as I've been learning how to use CrazyTalk is, or you know, how to basically work with CrazyTalk, is that, you know, you really do have to focus on creating all the main aspects of your character, even if you're not going to be able to use them, or if you don't need them, or some of them are invisible, or you know, non-existent or whatever. You have to try to include all those elements in your character in some shape or another. Even if you just create them as a invisible shape, it'll actually work better if it's actually there. So here I am creating my rough sketch for what's going to be my character. CrazyTalk seems to work best with characters where the legs are directly beneath the shoulders. I have been able to get some decent results with characters where the legs are on the outside and but you have to be consistent across all the angles themselves in order for that to work. The other thing is that there's a certain degree of symmetry that's expected. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna try to throw in some tips and tricks on how to maintain that symmetry. Really big hands. Okay, and for the most part, this character is fairly symmetrical, so I don't think I'm going to have too many issues. The one thing about this particular character, however, is that it does have some quirks that I do not yet know whether or not CrazyTalk is going to be able to allow me to handle, or what kind of workarounds I'm going to have to do. For example, floating eyebrows. This is one of those things that my character has that I'm sure that the guys at Reallusion had no intentions of supporting or anything like that. The other thing is that this character does have long hair, so I'm going to try to make it so that the hair does not go below the neck, even though it should be like down to here somewhere, in order for it to be like an accurate representation of this particular character. I'm not going to worry about painting or drawing that other half, actually. So for the sake of having some kind of symmetry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop that off right there. Control D will duplicate anything that's selected. Shift up, shift left puts it back onto the exact same place. Modify, transform, flip horizontal will flip it, and then you just nudge it over and you'll have a perfectly symmetrical character. That's good enough. That you can use as a template. So what we're going to do next is on a second layer, I'm going to lock the bottom layer and I'm going to start like finalizing the artwork. And I'm probably not going to be able to use the actual artwork from this pass, but I feel it's necessary for the sake of having something more visual to work with. But once you get used to it, I'm sure you'll be able to just skip through this process. You know what? I think I could probably get away with nudging that half a little bit closer to my character. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is zoom in again and lock that. Okay, so we need to identify the main areas here because it does work better when you include all primary areas that the bones are going to be attached to. So let's see here. So let's go ahead and for this character, I'm not going to use the strokes. I'm going to go ahead and just paint using the outlines. We're using the shape fill option, or the shape outlines. So I'm going to start by rotoscoping this hand here. Let's see here. And again, I'm not trying to, I could easily, fill in the blanks and go ahead and create that into my shape already. And later on, once I get used to it, I guess that would be the proper procedure for doing it. But right now, I just want to get a very symmetrical, plain, vanilla type character done. And that's the other thing. Basically, when you draw these angles, you really need to try to keep it as orthogonal as possible. That's basically as flat as possible. CrazyTalk Animator will create the added perspective for you. So when you do this, it's very, very recommended that you try to avoid as much as possible perspective angles and all that good stuff. I'm just gonna rough it out like this because it seems to be a little wonky. Again, what I'm gonna do with this character is I'm gonna like replicate the one half over to the other side anyways. That's the shirt. So we have to, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but CTA actually works better with characters where the legs are directly above the shoulders. For some reason, so for the sake of perspective and symmetry, I'm going to take this foot, nudge it over. See this little pivot point? You can place it anywhere you want, so that when you transform your selection, it does it based on that pivot point. Let's fix this foot. Try to get rid of as much perspective as possible. The flatter your view and your angle is, the more symmetrical it's going to be, and the less chances that when you import it, that the bone structure of your character is going to get all, wonky, all screwy. So I think that's it for this guy. No, I still have the head. So let's see here. So at this point, I'm trying to identify what the actual face is, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a solid shape here that'll represent the face. And I'm not to worry about that particular part of symmetry because I'm going to replicate it again, just to make sure I have it right, or as symmetrical as possible. Because that way, in order to get what I want, actually, you know what? I probably should get rid of this part, because if I'm going to implement that as part of the mouse shape, I might as well just make it a solid shape, like an oval or something. Yeah. And then when I do my mouth, I can add my lips and stuff like that as part of the mouth itself. So that might work. Yeah, so I'm gonna just overlap this particular section here, and gonna be my mouth. I have no idea how this is going to translate into CrazyTalk once I get done with it, but we'll see. I guess that's part of the experimentation process. I mean, I don't want to get stuck with the plain old vanilla characters that are, used in CrazyTalk right now. I want to be able to create something a little bit more advanced and organic, original. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just group it, Control G, and then Control D will duplicate it. And then modify, transform, flip horizontal, and I'm going to bring it over, try to align it as best as possible. I'm going to select both groups, Control X, go into a new layer, turn all these off so I can see what's going on, paste in place. So at any given point right now, I do have a fairly symmetrical character, which doesn't always look, as natural as it needs to be, but for the purpose of creating the model, it works. So now, once I get something like this, I can start identifying the parts and creating the actual final sections. So let's see here. I'm going to turn that into an outline, create a new layer so I can start working on my finals. And let's see. This is the relaxed hand pose. And I'm going to go ahead and paint them, but I'm going to paint them gray because I don't want to bother too much with the final color just yet. Or I guess I could. I mean, why not? You know, it's I'll make use of my other plugin to save my colors because I hate having to remember what my color panels are and stuff. This is my Toon Titan panel. I'm gonna just mix up a nice little skin tone color for this character, which is a sort of a shade of orange. And I'm gonna save it. That way, when I go to any other color, you know, I'll be able to bring that back. So that works. I'm gonna just put that to the side there, and I'm going to paint it. And let's see here. I'm going to leave that black object there for now, but later on I can come back and clean it. So let's see here, timeline. This output panel, I suggest putting it in a place that is not very conspicuous or whatever, maybe like below the main panel. So if we put it there, at least I'll, you know, whenever something happens, I can see what's going on. Oops, what did I do? What did I do? Okay, we'll do that. Let's see, maybe I could just attach it to that. There we go. Okay, so I take my shape. You know, I could easily start creating my stuff, you know, from the start. See, well, I have multiple items selected. It's telling me that I can't do that, so I'm going to lock this layer. It's just a shape, and this is for the zero view. The right, this is the right hand, and because it's a shape, it's telling me that it's going to convert it. All right, it converted it. It added the pivot points. Here's my nud, and here's my actual hand pivot point. So I can actually move that pivot point over here, wherever the intersection takes place. All right. So what I can do also is, well, I can do that later just to save some time. Let's see here. I'm gonna take this black and I'm going to create that section, paint it, and later on when I go back to cleaning it and stuff, there we go, I can come back and either get rid of the top part or the bottom part. So I can also just create it, you know, F8 will create a symbol. The name of the symbol doesn't matter, just leave it there. All right, just enable that thing so we can see what's underneath it. And I'm going to, let's see here, I guess I'm going to make this sleeve part of the arm. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see here, switch to black. Alright, that seems to work fine. And here we'll try to get rid of all this. Let's see here, give him a purple shirt. I'm going to go ahead and save it so I can be able to recall that color later. Okay, so this is going to be my upper arm. Press and hold the shift key as you do this, and it'll deselect everything else that, you know, or the item that you click on. F8 will convert it into a symbol. The name of the symbol doesn't matter. Excuse me. So now I'm gonna press Control minus to make everything like zoom out. And I'm really not too concerned about these pivot points right now. I just wanted to show you that I could theoretically be doing that as I worked, but I'm not gonna concern myself too much with it at this time. I am going to adjust the position. If you select an item, press Control up or Control down, and based on the arrow that you push, you can adjust the placement or the angles. So for this particular symbol, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there, select that little area so that when I press Control plus, it'll zoom in on that specific area. And all I have to do is, well, for one, I'm going to clean that edges a little bit more, is take this edge and drag it up. And I've created a joint region. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing for this section. I'm going to double click it. It goes into edit mode. I take this, extend it outwards, and I've effectively created a little joint region there. So let's see, let's smoothen that up a little bit more, and that doesn't need to be like that. Okay, so that takes care of that. So we have something that looks like that. Alright, so now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these items, and basically the idea behind doing this is because CrazyTalk does require you have like a straight line going on your pivot points. Alright, so that's important for the model to come out properly inside of CrazyTalk. So I'm going to select all three items, Control D to duplicate, up, Shift left to put them back in place. Then I take Modify, select Transform Horizontal, and I have an exact copy of my arm, which I'm going to nudge over to that spot right there. Okay? Now, see, you have to keep track of what you've done also, because you want to be able to avoid as much human error as possible. One of the things I did earlier was that I did create this thing, this hand, and it's already been assigned to the hand item itself. See, right hand 0, and so is this one. So what's going to happen if I leave it like that is that only one of those is going to be imported, the other one's going to get ignored. So we got to make sure that we don't have any of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select everything and click that eraser button, and basically it should have cleaned up everything. So I have no instance names on anything, so that gives me a fresh little canvas type of thing to work with. So let's go ahead and create the upper torso. I'm going to go ahead and do this on a separate layer just for organizational purposes, just for ease. And this upper torso is basically just going to go from here maybe to, I guess, to where the shirt is, and the other part is going to be part of the lower torso. So let's get our black color, and we'll do that number there. And smoothen it out a little bit. We'll paint it using, I guess we can paint it using our shirt color. Yeah, there we go. Make sure that's locked so that when we select it, nothing else gets selected. And I'll do the additional editing afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and select F8 to create a symbol. And there's my upper torso. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and in here I'm going to turn it into an outline, which I suppose I should leave it alone, because if I want to make the neck region where the neck comes out, I I might as well just add that as part of the neck, really. That'll probably work better. But I will come here, oops, and create some spaces here. Okay, select that, smoothing it out as much as possible. Might just put the straighten option. Okay, yeah, I'll just use the straighten. It's a lot faster for this type of thing. Straighten it, and then we'll just round it off a little bit. Okay, I think that's what's gonna do it for that section, and we can move it to a layer below it, or we can just leave it there. It doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, CrazyTalk is gonna adjust the placements for you, and you'll be able to create joint masks and stuff like that. Let's see here, Control minus to zoom out. Let's work on the lower torso. So let's turn that into outlines, and let's figure out what our lower torso looks like. Lower torso is going to be right here somewhere. That's too big. I'm gonna create this in a separate layer. Again, you don't have to do this. It's just me doing for organizational purposes. Alright, that's not gonna work out as easy as I wanted it to. Excuse me. So what I'm gonna do is, from the center, press and hold Shift and Alt and do this number. Double click there. Where's my properties window? I'm going to turn that into maybe, yeah, 3.5. And hold the Alt key. Do that. That'll be the end of that. But it is he is wearing blue jeans, so what I'm going to do is change the color here. Let's see here. Let's pick something else. Nice blue color. That's a pretty decent shade of blue. We'll save it on the little color well there. And because I am working with with actual fills and not, you know, lines, I'm going to convert this shape, modify shape, convert lines to fills, and now it's a fill, so I can go in there and adjust the line weight. So we'll do it like that. Smoothing it out a little bit. I think that's good enough. Maybe take this and just kind of do something like that on it. Just to be smoothened out some more. Okay. So this is going to be our lower hip. F8 will convert it into a symbol. And now I'm gonna do the one of the legs. Lock that, create a new layer, turn that into an outline so I can see what's my guide underneath. Select the black color for my outline. And let's see, I'm just going to do kind of the same thing I did with the arms. Try to get a solid shape going. Smoothing it out some. Alright, and reselect my jeans color. Whoops. There we go. Let's see here. That's good enough. I'm going to select it. F8. Click OK. And now I have my upper leg. I'll do the same thing for my lower leg. Switch to black. And get my blue color again, paint that with it. Let's see, select all of that, deselect that top part, F8, click OK. And I'm going to double click here, and I'm just going to get rid of this section. There you go. Double click that one. Get rid of that section, and there we go, so that when you actually see it, there's an overlap, so that's where the joint's going to be. Alright, so next thing, I need a foot. Alright, fairly easy task. Get my black one. Okay, maybe do something like that on that, just so it's not too plain. I'll use the paint behind feature. That way I could just paint underneath it. Saves me a lot of trouble. And fill that in. So we'll select that shoe, deselect that section. Let me see, we'll press Control G just to group it together real quick. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. I have a feeling that something weird's gonna happen with the placement. I may have to go back and add those little tears on the shoe itself, but I don't know. That's just one of those things I'm going to have to experiment with later. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and break it up. Press F8 to convert to symbol. Hit OK. And I'm going to put it at the bottom there. And I'm going to take this leg, Control D to duplicate, Shift up, and I'm going to go modify, transform, flip horizontal, and just kind of place it as best as possible where I think you know, the outline underneath goes. So let's take a look at our puppet so far. So I'm going to unlock all of this except for the bottom layers, my rough draft layers. And I'm just going to copy. Oops. Cut, paste in place. Now they're all on the same layer. I can get rid of these layers here, these blank layers. since they're on the same layer, I can adjust the placement. So that goes to the bottom, and these two will go to the bottom. It looks a little bit odd, but maybe I could just come in here and fix it from this angle. Okay. And we'll leave it at that for now. So let's see what else we have going on. We have to recreate this face area. Okay, so let's see, we don't need that. I'm going to place this on top of that. Get rid of that layer. I don't think I need that rough layer anymore. So let's work on the neck and the face, and that would basically give me all the primary items that I need to have a working model. So let's see here. Let's do the neck. See, I drew it in the wrong spots, but that's okay. I'll just create a new layer, paste in place, and there we have it. Okay, so we're going to color it in using the skin tone. Try to keep it as symmetrical as possible. Sometimes you have to deactivate that magnet. Okay. And as part of the shirt, I'm going to draw the collar into the neck. Just the wrong one. Select black. And paint it purple. Okay, that should do it. So that's going to be my neck. F8. Click OK, and we have a neck. So now let's do a face. New layer. Okay, so the face, I think it's going to be something like this. Because it's not really cooperating as much as I expected or I wanted to, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let's see, chop it in half. I'll go there. flip horizontal and nudge it all the way to the other end. And I'll just piece these together like this. Zoom in on it. Turn on my magnet tool. And that's taken care of. So let's go up here a bit. Alright, so we're going to piece those together. Bring those up to the center. Let's see if we can make this work. Technically, I don't really have to worry too much because about that section, since it's going to be in the back. And that's a fairly symmetrical face. Say fairly, not exactly, but close enough. So we're gonna bring back our orange color, fill that face in, select it, push F8, click OK, and now we have our face, neck, and all this other good stuff. So now I gotta just get the nose, the mouth, the eyes, and the eyebrows, and the hair. And we'll get ready. We'll go ahead and rig it up and test it. So let's turn that into an outline, create a new layer. For the nose, I think I'm gonna do the same thing I did earlier. Let's see here, start at the center, Alt-Shift makes it perfectly round. Okay, double click. And we'll do something like that. That should be good enough. Let's see here. Modify, shade, convert lines to fills. And we have a nose. F8. Alright. Let's lock that layer, turn it into an outline, create a new layer. Let's do an eyeball. And there's a lot more to the eyeballs than it's kind of, you know, than you'll see here, because I mean, if you want the eyes to move and everything, you'll have to create different layers for the eyes individually and name them differently. So let's see here. So I guess we'll do something like that. We'll paint it white, and I'm just going to put a pupil right there. We're going to leave it like that for now. I'm not going to worry about converting it to a shape or anything like that, or to a fill. That's something we can fix later. And let's do an eyebrow. See here, Control D, up, right, left, modify, transform, flip horizontal, and maybe right there. Put it below the nose. Something that looks like that. Maybe bring the eyes up a little bit more. Okay. So now we need a mouth and hair. So let's work on that mouth. The mouth. I'm gonna make a relaxed, normal mouth. So that is going to look something like this. Oops. Let's do it on a different layer. That way we avoid any confusion. I have no idea what effect having a mouth this big inside of CrazyTalk is going to do. I've done some experiments where CrazyTalk has actually tried to resize the mouth when I import it. So hopefully this character will actually be able to work fine. But if it doesn't work, then I guess I won't be able to use this particular character style with CrazyTalk. So this is going to be my normal mouth. Select my original orange skin tone, and I guess I can chop off the top of that. Go ahead and just kind of do my little symmetry trick. Control D, shift up, shift left, modify, transform, horizontal, and just nudge it over till I get it. I'm going to zoom into that region right there. Probably should enable the magnet feature. Okay, F8, symbol 14. And let's see what that looks like so far. The nose is probably supposed to, nose is definitely supposed to be with, like, topmost part of the whole character. Let's see here. What is this? Okay, that's the face. I really need that face to kind of blend itself better with this. So I'll have to fix all these in a minute. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to group these together, group that together. That's already a group. That's already a group. That and all that other stuff is a group. These two halves, I'm going to turn them into a single group. Control G, there we go. And now, let's see. What I'm going to do next is, if I can select these shapes. 1, 2, 3, okay. I'm going to group that into one item. Actually, no, I'm going to group both of those arms into one item. Control G. I'm going to take these legs and I'm going to group those into a single item. And this is just for the purpose of aligning these properly. It'll definitely help in the creation of your model. So I'm press Control K, and that brings up the Align panel in Flash. So I'm not going to align them to the stage. I just want them to align to each other. So So align to the center, and that gives me like a center alignment on all of these shapes. So I can actually come back and break these apart now. Let's see, so break apart those items, break that apart, maybe send them to the back. Let's see here. Okay, so let's zoom in on this section real quick. I guess really what I need to fix is this. Let's see, try to make it closer to what my neck and mouth shapes should be. Maybe delete that bottom section there. Something like that. Try to create a smoother transition between these two items. A little bit better. Not exactly perfect, but you know, with a little tweaking, it might actually work. So let's I'm not gonna worry too much about that yet, because you know, at the end of the day, it's working. Alright, let's take a quick look at what this looks like so far. Control minus. Okay. Let's make some hair. Make sure that's locked. Actually, let's lock all of them. Create a new layer. We still want to be able to see this. Let's turn that into a shape here. I'm just going to draw a line. Change the color of that line to black. Bring that line out here. Just kind of, you know, mess around with it like if it's putty. Just mold it. Okay, so we're going to call that the hair, or the back hair. This character doesn't have front hair. And what I'm going to do is, let's see here, I don't think I need that. Try to figure out what I need and what I don't need. Let's see here, I do need that. I don't think I need that section anymore, so I'm going to just hide it for a minute. But all these other ones, excuse me, I'm just going to cut them. And I find it easier just to put them all in the same layer, paste in place, and readjust the positions. Control down, puts there, sends it to the back. Control up, brings it to the front. And that's a character. Let's see. I mean, maybe I can tweak that sleeve a little bit. Let's see how that would look. Let's see here. I don't think it's really all that necessary because the masks feature is actually going to help me fix that. I'm just going to leave it alone. I am ready to rig it up though. This is the front view only so far, but you'll get an idea of how I do this. I don't think I need that layer anymore. All these empty layers can go away. Let's see. So I'm going to have my right hand. I'm going to close this Toon Titan thing real quick. Alright, so that's the right hand. I just click on it one time. Then we have what's going to be the lower arm and my upper arm, and then that arm, that part of the arm, and that hand. Notice that the hands themselves are given two pivot points. One is the nud point and one is the actual pivot point. The software, of course, tries to guesstimate the ideal position for that pivot point, but it's not completely, it's not a 100% flawless process. You have to use some creative judgment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these three items. Since I know my hand is a straight line, I'm just going to select all three of them and press Shift, right, and just move them all to the right. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Shift, left. So now they're pretty much the same spot. I'm going to turn on my outline feature. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower these down, this top two. Just press down, Shift down. That places my pivot points right there. I'm going to select those two, Shift down. Well, that didn't quite do it. It's actually going to press up. Alright, so I'm going to take these, I'm going to move them out. I'm just going to put them in the center. And at this point, I probably have lost my perfect line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that connects these 2 points here to that one, but I'm going to go all the way out. So there you go. Okay. So in order for this to work properly, then I guess I have to bring this down, and it would have to be right there for it to be a perfect line. Okay, and I've lost track of how many times I moved it, so I'm going to have to use my rulers. So view rulers, and then I can take one of these lines here. Okay, I'm going to turn that into an outline. And basically this dot is going to be right there. So zoom in on that real quick. There you go. So now I can get rid of that line, and I can stop viewing the rulers. Of course, ideally that pivot point should be right there, but you know, you can always just do this number. See? Problem solved. So then we take our nuds and we'll adjust them so they can land on that line right there. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let's get rid of this line, and it becomes a perfect alignment. I don't think it matters so much how far out the arms are, as long as they're on a straight line, but you will have to maintain that consistency across all your angles. So now let's do the upper torso, upper arm, and the lower torso and all that other good stuff. So here's the upper torso. Let's see here, boom. Now it created a pivot point right there, but as you can see, we probably should move that pivot point up a little bit where it hinges with the lower torso. Maybe somewhere right there. So next we'll select the lower torso, click on that in the plugin, and it automatically tries to put it at the center. But what I'm going to do is, well, first I got to make sure I got the right pivot point selected. So I'm going to go to Properties, see lower torso 0 pivot. So that's the right pivot point. I'm going to nudge it down just a little bit, just like maybe right there. Kind of just use your own creative judgment. The thing about these pivot points though, it's like these have to be aligned with each other in a perfect line. Now these center pivot points, they also have to be aligned. So all the head and the head, neck, and the torso ones, they also have to be aligned at the center. So that's another rule to remember. So here's the neck. I'll click on that. I'm just going to nudge it just a little bit, like maybe right there, just up a little bit. Okay, so that's my, I guess that's my face. Okay, so the face gets 2 pivot points. It gets one at the bottom, and I'm going to nudge the bottom one where it pivots against the neck, right there. I'm just nudging it up, and the head nud, I'm going to raise it up, maybe right here where the top of the eyebrows are. Now I'm going to have to remember to put this head nut at the top every single time. So I got my face. The nose is not that important. If I don't do it, obviously it won't show up. But for the character to work, as far as a main rig is concerned, I don't have to include it. But I am going to go ahead and put it this time. So there's the nose, and I'm going to let it stay right at the center. There's the mouth, and I'm going to let it stay at the center. And the hair, this is the back hair. And it's going to be right there. Let's see. This character doesn't use ears. It does use eyebrows. So I'm gonna, let's see here, break those apart. That's gonna be the left eyebrow, the right eyebrow. Okay, break those two apart. Okay, so this is gonna be my left eye. I'm just gonna leave the pivot point right at the center. Okay, so now pretty much everything has a pivot point, right? Or at least I think it does. This character doesn't have any front hair. I'm just going to leave it off for now. Hopefully it doesn't create too much of an issue. Let's see here. My legs, the legs also have to be perfectly aligned. So there's my top. Okay, I'm going to do that with that one. And there's that one. That, which it gets 2 pivot points, and that part. So ideally, again, it has to be a perfect alignment for the legs. So let's see where we stand right now. View, rulers. We're going to put a line right there. Let's zoom in. Close that panel. Just kind of put it at the center of that. Put another line right there. Okay, so we'll take this, we'll nudge it a little bit until it's right at the center on that line, and then we'll bring it down. Alright, we're going to create another line right there. Now we can take this one and just place it right there. It's perfectly aligned. So we'll take these, nudge them over a little bit. Okay, and maybe down somewhere right there maybe. And these, the same thing. Make sure they're aligned with those guidelines. And place them below the foot. That's good enough. Okay, so basically, when I draw the rest of my angles, I have to make sure I have all these things consistent, okay? Where these pivot points are, that's where they need to be on the other angles. The same height and everything, so try to make those match as possible. I'm going to go ahead and export this right now so that we can get an idea of whether or not what I did actually worked or not, and what I could have done differently and all that good stuff. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to save it. Let's see, export movie, desktop. We're going to call it tune test.swf. We'll save it, and we're going to run CrazyTalk animator. Notice how I basically have everything on a single layer, so I'm not exactly following the white paper as outlined by the CrazyTalk team exactly 100% to the letter, but it should work. If I can get CrazyTalk to launch, here it is. It loaded up on my second monitor. Let's see here. If I remember how to do this properly, I'm still learning how to use it. View, let's see. Had something to do with F4, I think. Yeah, actor, bring a character. I guess it really doesn't matter what character you bring in. With the character selected, go to this character composer section, and we'll use the SWF import option. Let's see here. What did I call it? Tune test. There it is. We'll just import it and just kind of see what happens. Now it is only the front view, so only the front view is expected to work. Alright, give it some more, a few more seconds, close. Alright, so a few things happened here. Most of it imported. We have the face, we have the neck, all this stuff looks good. I'm missing my hands, or am I? So sometimes it does bring them in, but it brings them in at the wrong spots. So we're gonna have to go back and figure out why the hands didn't get imported properly. And you know what? I actually know why they didn't get imported properly. Everything actually worked out exactly the way it's supposed to. I just remembered why, and I'll show you that in a minute. But since I'm already here, let's take a look at this walk. There's some kind of wonky stuff going on here, but that's because it's trying to use elements from a different pose. Since we don't have those poses defined, then it is gonna, it's using elements from a different angle. And so like if I go here, see how it's all screwed up? These are the angles that it's using for this particular animation cycle. Ideally, you have to finish all of your angles before your character is expected to work properly. So sometimes it'll work right off the bat, you know. But this character is actually not that bad with a little tweaking and stuff. So I'm going to show you what I did wrong. I didn't do wrong, I just overlooked it. Okay, like the mouth. Okay, I have the mouth, it's labeled, so technically the mouth did get brought in, but the mouth itself doesn't have an actual sprite. See, it's a shape. So what I need to do with this mouth is I need to have at least the very first sprite of that mouth. So I'm going to come in here to my Model Maker plugin, switch to the mouth section. That's frame 1. So I look at the frame 1. I'm supposed to be using my normal, and I'm just going to click it. Boom, says the item was a shape, it was converted to a symbol and assigned to normal. So now it is an actual sprite, and the sprite has been designated as the normal mouth shape. So to make this character more multidimensional and stuff, make him talk and stuff, you're gonna have to go inside of this mouth area and create 30 different frames. And for every drawing that you make, you have to come in here. Okay, droop lower lip. Okay, that's it right there. Then frame number 3 is going to be raise raise the lip edges. It's kind of a smile. So you're going to have to create those and assign those things using this panel. So now that I have that mouth, it has at least one sprite inside of it. That mouth should import perfectly fine. The same thing with the nose. So I'm going to switch it. So that's my first frame. It's selected. I'm just going to click normal. All right, it was detected. So here you go. It's been assigned as a normal, the normal nose. Same thing with the eyes. Okay, that's the first one. Eye, normal, and the eyebrows. This is going to be my first eyebrow. If I can zoom in on there because it's becoming a little hard to select. Alright, this is my eyebrow. I need to make sure to switch to the eyebrow. Now you gotta be absolutely sure that you know which ones you're clicking on, because you don't want to hit select the eye and apply it to the eyebrow, because then you're gonna have spend a lot of time just kind of troubleshooting and stuff. So that's my normal eyebrow, frame 1. Boom, it's ready to go. See, normal eyebrow. So I got my eyebrows. I got at least one eyebrow. I got at least one eyeball. I got at least one nose, one mouth. What else was I missing? The hands. Okay, so we have to have at least one hand in there. And notice that I think the hands is supposed to be 8 different poses or something like that. No, it's 11 of them. So this is my relaxed hand. It needs to be on frame 1. So I'm going to apply the relaxed hand to it. Boom, there it is. So now I have a hand, and it's been assigned as relaxed. Let's export this again. Let's call it tunetest.swf, which is overwrite the previous one. All right, we'll close this panel. Go back to CrazyTalk, and now we will re-import this. Let's see, what am I doing that's not letting me? I'm on the front side. Okay, okay, this calibration panel really screws things up. You got to make sure you turn that off before you can select your character again. Okay, so here it is. Let's see, tune test, open it, click OK, and there we go, perfect. Now we are going to have some errors in our error log, and that's because we are missing certain items like the left ear, right ear, the 45-degree angle face. That's perfectly normal. Don't worry too much about that. You didn't include those, so you should expect that. But I mean, notice how I have, a perfectly workable model, at least of the front view. Let's do a quick test. I don't expect these tests to be absolutely accurate, because it does use elements from the other angles, and unless you have those other angles defined, then you should expect certain errors to show up, such as these right here. Um, so this is perfectly fine. If I were to actually define all my other areas, um, all my other angles, then those little discrepancies there, those will go away because I will have defined them. So for the time being, we managed to create a perfectly decent front angle. Um, it should work perfectly fine. Don't worry too much about all this overlapping stuff until you have your full character fully rigged. You shouldn't worry about the displacement of the shapes. It's perfectly fine. I mean, only if you've finished creating all of the angles for your character and you're still getting that, the shapes just not placed properly, then at that point you need to go look at your flash file and see where the symmetry is not there, because it is expecting to have perfectly symmetrical bone structures, and the placement of these pivots have to be at the same height, at the same location, because that's what it uses to create this bone structure. Since I don't have these other angles, I mean, the software is basically just kind of guessing, So let's see here. Try to select. It's basically just kind of guessing. But once these angles are defined, then any motion that uses these angles in conjunction with the other angles will effectively make use of those. So let's see here. See how this arm now works a little bit better because I adjusted the placement on this angle, which is the one that it was using. Let's try this. Let's see here. I gotta do something about that calibration panel. Every time it's selected, it doesn't want to make use of it. It doesn't want to allow you to work on anything else, which kind of sucks because you don't always remember to turn it off. So let's see here. Let's go back to our front view. So let's take a quick test again. See? So don't worry too much if the placement of your shapes and stuff don't come out right the first time. I mean, it's great to test it, when you first create it and stuff, but don't expect it to work 100% well from the start. Only when you have all your angles created and imported, at that point, if you still have issues, then it's probably something you got to worry about. But for the time being, once those angles are defined and properly configured, then they should work. Lastly, the joints. I mean, if you take a look at, for example, this section here, see how it pops right there? These are things that you don't have to spend too much time inside of Flash. I spent a lot of time figuring that out, and really, if I would have just basically realized that I could just do the joint masks from the start. Let's see here. I could have saved myself a lot of trouble. I need to go back to this panel here. I think it's F5. Yeah, F5. So the joint mask. You go around selecting joint masks and stuff. So create one there too. And basically these joint masks will allow you to adjust the placement of how your characters use, how they look as they walk and stuff, how they overlap each other. So let's see here. So let's test that joint mask. There's still a little bit of popping going on there. But as you adjust your joint masks and stuff, that becomes a lot smoother and easier to work with and more natural. But I hope you enjoyed the demo. I hope you enjoyed the demo, and it gives you a good idea of how to work with the plugin, as well as how to create your own custom characters. I'm going to do another tutorial as soon as I can that covers all the other angles, and hopefully when I release the plugin, I'll be able to maybe release a couple of characters or something that you guys can use as a just kind of reference and stuff. But if you have any suggestions, just let me know. I'll be sure to answer any questions you have.